What is up, everybody? And we are back with some meat and potatoes, right? Some data, some facts, not fiction, on what's going on in the housing market. And today we're going to cover a few other things as well. We're going to cover a new skyscraper that the city of Phoenix has approved. That's right. We're going to have a new largest building that's going to exceed the Chase Tower height that currently is the largest building in downtown Phoenix. That is coming too. So just when you thought office space was dead or having problems, which it kind of is across the country, but Phoenix for some reason is so resilient. The office space is over 90% occupied, and which is crazy when you kind of think about it. And there could be some problems on the horizon, but as of right now, is doing pretty well. And let us know, guys, where you are listening from. Say hi. Say what's going on. I really appreciate hearing from everybody commenting, whether it's silly or serious. Either way, it doesn't matter. Love when people participate and make this a two-way conversation as much as possible. Phoenix is getting that skyscraper. They're also getting the $18 million water slide project. Now, it's not coming to, or it isn't a brand new water park. So let's be clear about that because some of those are on the horizon as well. We know about that. We discussed that here, especially down in the Southeast Valley. This one is already at an existing hotel resort. They just upgraded big time when it came to the water slide game. So that's coming, and maybe a good place to do a staycation, right? Coming up, if you're local, or if you're visiting, go ahead and book your tickets there to reserve a couple nights there at this hotel. We're going to cover in just a minute, and some other things too as well. Did you know that Phoenix had a top 50 rated bar in the entire world? Did you know that? Phoenix, Arizona. Yes, they do. And we're going to cover who that is, what they are, and where they're at. So you can go visit them if you're local, because you should. It's pretty awesome. And then, of course, some other things too, other development aspects that are going on that we're going to cover as well. We're going to talk about inflation, what's going on there, as well as interest rates and the correlated effect. The CPI index for July came out. And was it good or was it bad? Anybody know? We're going to cover that here. That's why you tune in. 1 million plus apartments are set to be delivered nationally amid slower rental housing market. So the rental market is slowing, I guess, according to this article here. So it's in a record number are coming. Check this out. A record number of apartments are delivering this year, with more than 107,000 units have finished construction in Q2 and another 1 million units under construction at the end of June. That's a lot of apartments. Now, you go on here, you can see that Phoenix kind of needs some, I guess. The demand is there based on all the studies they do. Houston's number one, Phoenix is number two, and then, of course, Dallas, Chicago, Charlotte, Nashville, Austin, etc. You can see the graph. So there is some an absorption rate there that Phoenix will certainly absorb and is needed. Now, where those apartments go is a whole other thing, because there's some people in Scottsdale, for example, that aren't too happy about all these apartments that are just popping up everywhere. But there's other cities, I'm sure, that are not either, like Chandler, etc. But you have this article that talks about all these apartments are set to be delivered, and potentially some people might get stuck. That is out there. It's a real thing. In fact, there is a seller that took a loss, I know, on one of them here coming up that was sold last month. But you can't win everything, right? There's going to be losses out there. But it just talks about nationally how the absorption rate can't keep up with the amount of apartments that are set to be delivered. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens in the multifamily section of the commercial loans, especially that we just talked about, that have already seen some sort of default. Okay. So very interesting to keep a tab on. Now, let's jump over here to this more development, because this is cool. This one's awesome, guys. I love this story, because who doesn't like going into a big city or just a city, right? And seeing, off in the distance, skyscrapers, right? A downtown city skyline. I was just in Chicago visiting family, and Chicago, holy cow. New York City, you see all the drone photography or video of New York City, Manhattan. That obviously, Chicago's a large city, third largest city in the country, so they're going to have big buildings. But when you go downtown, it's incredible how many buildings that are over 40 stories or more there are. It's incredible. There are a lot. In fact, we took the architectural boat tour around the city. It was awesome. But Phoenix doesn't have that. Okay, but it has some tall buildings, it does. And they're going to add one more. Look at this, guys. Here's the rendering for the next tall skyscraper in Phoenix. It's going to be the tallest building in downtown Phoenix and in Arizona. It's called Astra, It's a $575 million project that will include one tower with 45 floors and rising to the height of 541 feet, surpassing the Chase Tower, the former Chase Tower, which was the largest building at 483. The second tower with Astra will be 36 floors. So one 45, another one with 36. There's the deal. And I'm just sitting there going, why not just put them on top of each other and let's go big, right? That's what I want to see. Well, what's 45 plus 36? I don't even know. That's what is that? 80 91. Let's just make one big 91 story skyscraper and put it on the map, right? Because Phoenix doesn't have these tall buildings. But for some reason, I'm sure there's a good reason for that. They're choosing not to do that. So nonetheless, there'll be two larger buildings that will add to the city of Phoenix downtown skyline. And it talks about what it is. Now, it's not all going to be office space. Okay, it's a 2-acre site, but it's going to have a bunch of commercial space, 697 apartment units, a 229 room hotel, and some office space and parking spaces on the 2 acres. Okay, so commercial space, office space, and then of course living. So they struck a deal with the city of Phoenix, which they're not going to pay taxes for the first 8 years since from the time they received their certificate of occupancy. And this building is set to be delivered in 2027. So let's go look at the pictures here, guys. This is kind of cool. You're gonna have a rooftop pool of some sort. You got a little. Hopefully, no one falls off the edge. Hopefully, they have a nice big railing there, right? That wouldn't be good. There you go. So cool, right? I think it's gonna be pretty sweet to have a nice glass modern skyscraper in the downtown city of Phoenix. What do you think? Is that good for Phoenix? Is it bad? I think it's good. We have a lot of development happening in Phoenix, so it's needed. I know that in terms of just extra space for commercial space and living space in downtown Phoenix. Okay, so that was pretty cool. Now let's move on to another development project. This is pretty cool. For those of you who don't know, there was a place called Cracker Jacks in Scottsdale, North Scottsdale, for quite some time. Great place to go hit driving range, right? Double-decker driving range. It was awesome ahead of its time. But then this company called Top Golf, you may have heard of it, came around and all of a sudden Cracker Jacks and their lowly little, double decker is just out the window, and the technology is not Top Golf's technology, and there you have it. So Cracker Jacks struggled, and Cracker Jacks is the map. I have a map teed up here, guys. It's this. Here's North Scottsdale. There's a one-on-one loop right here, right? See the loop? There's a TPC Scottsdale where the WM Phoenix Open is played, and of course you have the Kierland Scottsdale quarter area right here, right? And right here, this parcel is the old Scottsdale Cracker Jacks. So it is prime location abutting to Scottsdale Road. So what is the billionaire? First of all, who is it, right? Who bought it? We're going to find out right now. There's a rendering of Central Park. They're calling it the Park, P-R-Q-U-E. Apparently that's French, maybe. I don't know. Is that French? But anyways, Cracker Jacks, here you go. Billionaire George Kurtz, who is the founder of the cybersecurity company CrowdStrike, one of the wealthiest people in all of Arizona, acquired the 28 acres last spring for $55.5 million for the dirt. That's right. And he's going to create it into a transformable, sustainable mixed-use campus as a catalyst to attract top innovators. That's cool. Technology entrepreneurs. That's cool too. Knowledge workers and venture capitalists to accelerate Scottsdale's growing technology cluster. Now, what's cool about this, if you go back to the map, is this is the plot, right, of land that he's going to do all the really technology supportive based, if you will, right? That was a big phrase there. But right up here, when you go up to Scottsdale, north of 101, so there it is, right? Bear with me here. I'm going to zoom out. You come up here. Again, there's that brown spot. There it is. This right here, Scottsdale Road, north of 101, right over here, is what they're calling Scottsdale's corporate corridor. Right here, all this undeveloped land. So this area right here, okay, on the east side and west side is like the last frontier for Scottsdale for open land that they really want to push development technology companies and big companies for research, etc., in Scottsdale's corporate corridor. So it's not far from there based upon that. So it's interesting that George Kurtz is obviously wanting to really invest in technology for this plot of land. And of course, I'm sure some profit for himself too as well. Let's be clear about that. But here's a little, this is not very big. I'm sorry, guys. I can't find a bigger one. I can't really stretch this sucker, unfortunately. But you can see that in the middle is the park. So what he's trying to create a miniature like New York City, Manhattan Central Park area where you have these big buildings with, that'll be modern all around the outside. In the middle, you have this really quaint, livable Central Park area where people can run and walk and do some, minor outdoor activities, if you will, while they live and or work in this area. So kind of cool, right? I dig it. I dig it. Let's see here. So Lucid, you guys know Lucid Motors, electric company. They're a big Arizona manufacturing center, if you will. Factory is in Casa Grande, Arizona, which is cool, providing a lot of jobs for Arizonans. But Lucid is not doing so well. They're falling short, and they have not delivered as many cars as Wall Street would like to see them deliver. So their stock is going down, and this is the ceremony and all stuff when they came here. But they laid off, as we know, back in March. We covered this story. 1,300 employees as part of the major reorganization. So far, that reorganization hasn't spurred that stock price to go up and whatnot. That they had some issues with design flaws, etc. So we'll see what happens to Lucid. I think their cars are kind of cool looking, for the most part. We'll see what happens, okay, with the electric company of Lucid. Next one here. This is really quick, guys. But you guys know the TSMC plant in North Phoenix is still humming along. They are building that thing, which is going to provide 4,000 jobs, high-paying jobs in the tech chip sector, okay? But this is just an apartment complex that by the way, my buddy George Marvia right here, I know George very well. Tower Capital, they financed this deal. It's only $88 million, no big deal. But this is a 354-unit build-to-rent community that they're doing in North Phoenix by TSMC on 40 acres. So pretty cool. Shout out to George and Tower Capital, okay? Here we go. We have another one here. Small businesses. Now, this is one that kind of ties into the inflation issue, right? The CPI came out yesterday, and what did they say? Let's just cut over to this USA Today article. You guys ready for this one? Inflation cools again in June as gains in grocery prices slow. The CPI report shows. That's good. That's good. CPI went down. The index went down. Inflation is coming down a little more, supposedly based upon how they categorize it. But sometimes you got to wonder, how are they doing that actually? No, I'm just kidding. It's all on facts, right? So here we go. All right. A year after U.S. inflation hit a 40-year high of 9.1%. Oops, I'm reading the CPI report, and I didn't even tell you guys I'm not sharing my screen. Here you go. Right here, USA Today. A year after U.S. inflation hit a 40-year high of 9.1%, it has fallen by about 2/3, but bringing down annual consumer price increases the rest of the way. Okay. The Fed, guys, is trying to achieve an interest rate of 2%. Excuse me. That's not true. Scratch that. An inflation rate of 2%. Guys, interest rates of 2% would be awesome. That's not the deal, okay? It is inflation. I got that wrong, okay? I misspoke. So we're not there. We're still above 3, okay? Consumer prices overall increased 3% from a year earlier, down from 4% in May, according to the Labor Department's Consumer Price Index. That's the smallest yearly increase since March 2021. On a monthly basis, prices rose 2.2%, following a 0.1 increase in May. So, guys, all this overall, it's a lot of blah, 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 but all this overall is good. Inflation is supposedly coming down. We're not feeling it yet, and the Fed is not convinced either. Why? Because the Fed, they're still, here we go. Core prices, which exclude volatile food and energy items and better reflect longer-term trends, have been tougher to subdue. This is the problem, okay? The Fed is not convinced either. How much longer will the Fed raise rates? Here you go. Despite the significant easing of core inflation, and most economists reckon it won't be enough for the Federal Reserve, which watches the key price measure more closely. As a result, forecasters expect, here we go, the Fed to raise interest rates again this month after pausing in June to assess the economic impact of its aggressive hiking campaign since early 2022. All right, so that's that. And then we go back here. Now, small businesses back off price increases as inflation eases. That's good. So a lot of small business prices aren't going up at the same rate. So we won't have to increase our prices, right? Because inflation is starting to come down. That's the core of this. But what's interesting is the projection. Listen to this, guys. Here we go. The NFIB survey also found that these three things. Small business owners expect better business conditions over the next 6 months. Okay. 42% of owners reported job openings that were hard to fill, down 2 points from May. 59% of owners reported hiring or trying to hire in June, down 4 points from May. of those other owners hiring or trying to hire, 92% reported few to no qualified applicants for the positions they're trying to fill. So that's rising optimism that from small business owners that apparently they feel the business economy is going to get actually a little better in the second half than worse. Now, don't tell that to the Federal Reserve because they're trying to put us in a recession. So you have these two forces colliding against each other, and ultimately, guys, because the Fed has the trump card when it comes to raising the interest rates, they're probably going to get their way. They will get their way if they keep forcing the issue. So this is interesting. Let's go to mortgage interest rates. Here we go. This is where the interest rates are currently at 6.87%. They were a little above 7, so they come down a little bit, guys. But again, mortgage rates fall further into the sixes. That's a good thing, right? You can see up here, there's a couple good articles that are actually interesting to read if you want to go through them. I'm not going to cover them right now for the purpose of this show, but this is a great resource, guys, on Mortgage News Daily. Okay. Here we go. Some more fun stuff. $18 million waterslide project opens at JW Marriott Phoenix Desert Ridge Resort and Spa. Look at that, guys. There's 3 water slides. 18 million bucks. So it's not at a water park. It's at the JW Marriott. Now, you can see over here, there's golf, which is Wildfire. That's the course. It is amazing. And over here, you have the Lazy River. Guys, let me tell you something about the Lazy River. If you live in Phoenix and you've not had a staycation, go there on a Saturday, stay the night until Sunday morning or something like that, right? And experience the Lazy River, you're missing out. I'm telling you, it's long, it's huge, and they serve you drinks, lemonades, right? Diet Cokes, whatever, and other stuff while you're floating down the river. It is outstanding. So if you're looking for a little reprieve and it's 110 degrees outside, which it is right now here in Phoenix, then that's no better way to spend a weekend if you're looking for some relaxation and leisure. Okay. And if you're a thrill seeker, 2 of these water slides are actually really good, is what they're saying here. And the other one is just for the person who wants a little more of a lounge experience when you're going down a water slide. But guys, I'm telling you right now, it's already good. The JW Marriott. Now, if you throw in 3 water slides, holy cow, you got me. I'm there. And by the way, the rates are pretty cheap in the summertime too, because no one's really visiting Phoenix that much in June and July and August because it's hot. So you can really get a good deal by doing that. So anyways, this pool area investment is only part of the $80 million worth of renovations that's happening at the 20-year-old resort. So it's 20 years old and they're still doing $80 million of renovations. That's the JW Marriott because they want to keep that brand as luxurious as possible. New restaurants opening up and so on and so forth. So guys, anyways, go check it out. That's pretty cool. This is interesting too. Okay. Now, I don't know if anybody likes, craft beer around here. I happen to like craft beer. And I like to support local. It's these 2 things I kind of have going on. So if I can get a local brewery and experience or taste something they have going on, by the way, hazy IPA, that's my jam. So if I can get one of those from a local brewery that I can support, that's awesome, right? And so if you're interested in this and you live in Arizona or you're visiting Arizona, or maybe you live out of state and you have the ability to buy an Arizona brewery beer, maybe at a Total Wine or a BevMo or someplace like that, this is pretty cool. So here's the top ranking breweries in Arizona. We'll just cover a few here. Santan, huge, big brewery. Huss, Mother Road Brewing Company, which is awesome, by the way, in Flagstaff. I think this is the one that does the church music. Oh, one of my favorite hazy IPAs there is. Barrio Brewing, the Shop Beer, that's a good one. It's in Tempe right here. Dragoon Brewing, College Street Brew House and Pub, Grand Canyon, it's a great one. I love that one too. Lumberyard, one of my favorites. Dude, Flagstaff has some breweries. Let me tell you, the food scene in Flagstaff is outstanding. But let me share my screen real quick so you can see this, right? I apologize, guys. You're staring at me, not the list, but here you go. Let me go back up here real quick. You see Santan, Huss, Mother Road, Dragoon, and all the way down to State 48, which I got a good friend who owns that. They're really good. Phoenix Beer Company. So really good. Oak Creek up in Sedona. Go check them out. That is really, really good. So some good breweries in Arizona that they are on the map. Trust me. And by the way, I'm not sure if I showed this to you, but there's the water slide. There you go at the JW Marriott. Okay. Now, a couple things. One last thing, I think. Then we're going to be out of here. We're up on our time for the most part here, guys. But this is cool. Did you know that right here, Undertow is a top 50 ranked bar in the world, not the state or the country, the world. So Undertow is a pretty sweet place to go have a libation. They don't serve food, just libations, just cocktails, etc. And they have some really cool cocktails and always a theme or themes with their bars when you go experience them. They just bought another one, Shady's Fine Ales and Cocktails. They're gonna be remodeling that and making it to some sort of experience. That's what this article is about. But let me show you the website for Undertow. Okay, here's the website, and it's a nautical underwater theme when you go in there, and even the windows have like water halfway up the window, like a little scupper hole, like you're in a ship. And of course, it's dark, and these lighting going on, and the cocktails are crazy out of this world. So there's the bar for you right there. It's just a really cool. There's the water in the windows, like you're underwater. It's a really cool experience. This was ranked top 50 in the world. You had to make a reservation, and just a really cool place to go have something to drink if you're in that mood and you're in Phoenix, because you got to be here presently to obviously experience the drink. So there you go. That's Undertow. Now, last but not least, guys, I'll just simply say I really appreciate you guys joining through the summer. Now, the summer in Arizona for our housing market, just to cap it off here, is a little bit slower in July. We're going to still bring you content on development, on cool spots to go visit while you're here, if you're visiting or you're planning to come visit when it gets a little cooler outside, because Phoenix is truly a special place in all the suburbs, right? The market is resilient. It is doing very well. Supply remains low. Demand remains about normal. And therefore, you have prices that are continuing to increase at this point. Slowly, but increasing. Again, as I covered 2 weeks ago, year to date, as of 2 weeks ago, the average appreciation rate in Phoenix was 9%. That is phenomenal when you have rates that are hovering around 7% and have been so for the entire year. So, guys, if you're thinking when is the right time to jump in, I can't answer that for a specific situation, but I would certainly love to have a conversation with you, and we can walk through that, and I can give you some of my opinions and thoughts on when that might be. And for some people, maybe now is not the right time. But in terms of time, in terms of trying to time the market, it's darn near impossible, guys. So if you have an exit strategy, you heard me say it before, I'll say it again. If you have an exit strategy that is somewhat down the road to sell the house, in other words, you don't have to maybe get out or forced to be get out because you're on a contract work in 6 months, that's up. It's probably a good time to buy. If you buy right now, you'll have less competition, be able to hopefully dictate terms, hopefully not everywhere, and get a good deal for today's market. Then hopefully the market will, the rates will at some point, not hopefully they will, the market's cyclical, could be a while, but hopefully not, rates will come down and you can always refinance at that time. But there's other levers to pull that we can help you with, like rate buy downs, etc. Give us a call. We'd love to help you out. 480-660-5974. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time. I know it's valuable. And until next time, Phoenix, keep it classy.